Hello, my name is Minji Kim and I'm a master's student majoring in artificial intelligence. I am here to present a paper called Visual Instruction Tuning. This paper was in NeurIPS 2023 and was mainly conducted by researchers from University of Wisconsin-Madison and Microsoft Research. Here are the contents for the presentation. I pretty much follow the table of contents in the paper. For the introduction part, I will talk about the motivation of the paper and its contribution. In AI field, it is one of the core aspirations to develop a general-purpose assistant following multimodal vision and language instructions, aiming to complete various real-world tasks in the wild. To this end, the community has seen many developments in language-augmented vision models with visual understanding, such as classification, detection, segmentation, and captioning, etc. However, to this date, each task is solved independently by one single large vision model, with the task instruction implicitly considered in the model design. And while language plays an important role in mapping visual signals to language semantics, models usually have a fixed interface with limited interactivity and adaptability to users' instructions. Still, there was significant improvement with large language models, showing that language can play a wider role since it can be a universal interface for general-purpose assistant where various task instructions can be explicitly represented in language. Especially the success of ChatGPT and GPT-4 have shown the power of aligned LLMs in following human instructions. Among them, Llama, which is an open-source LLM, matches the performance of GPT-3. And from Llama, various fine-tuned instruction-following models for each task, such as Alpaca and Vicuña, has emerged. However, these models have common drawbacks that they are text-only. In this paper, the authors present visual instruction tuning, which is the first attempt to extend instruction tuning to language-image multimodal space, paving the way to building a general-purpose visual assistant. Here are the four contributions of the paper. First, the authors present a data reformation perspective and pipeline to convert image-text pairs into an appropriate instruction-following format using ChatGPT and GPT-4. Second, they developed a large multimodal by connecting the OpenSec visual encoder of CLIP with the language decoder Vicuña and fine-tuned end-to-end on their generated instructional vision language data. According to the paper, the model achieves SOTA on the Science QA multimodal reasoning dataset when ensembled with GPT-4. Also, they present LLaVA bench with two challenging benchmarks with a diverse selection of paired images, instructions, and detailed annotations. Lastly, the work is open source. The authors release the generated multimodal instruction data, the code base, the modal checkpoints, and a visual check demo to the public. In the related work section, I will briefly explain multimodal instruction following agents and instruction tuning. In computer vision, works that build on instruction following agents can be categorized into two classes. First are end-to-end trained models, which are separately explored for each specific research topic. For example, in the image editing domain, given an input image and a written instruction, instruct Pix2Pix edits images by following the human instructions. Second, there is a system that coordinates various models via LangChain or LLMs. For instance, Visual ChatGPT is ChatGPT combined with visual foundation models, and React is a ChatGPT plus vision experts such as image captioning, advanced captioning, and etc. While sharing the same goal in building instruction-following agents, the authors focused on developing an end-to-end trained language vision multimodal model for multiple tasks. Instruction tuning is a way of approach to give natural language instructions to LLM to solve the given task. By doing this, researchers in NLP community found out that not only LLM could complete the task, but instruction tuning can effectively improve the zero and few-shot generalization abilities of LLMs. And the examples for instruction-tuned systems are InstructGPT, FLAN-T5, OptIML, and etc. Also, based on the recent best open source LLM Llama, OpenFlamingo and Llama adapter could enable Llama to use image inputs, paving the way to build open source multimodal LLMs. However, they have several drawbacks. First, they are not explicitly tuned with vision language instruction data, and their performance in multimodal tasks usually falls short compared to language-only tasks. In this paper, the authors tried to fill this gap and study the effectiveness of vision instruction tuning. In this section, I will be discussing the process of visual data generation, where it converts image text pairs into an appropriate instruction following format using ChatGPT or GPT-4. In this field, there are plenty amount of public multimodal data such as image text pairs, however, not much multimodal instruction following data. Accordingly, the authors present a data generation pipeline to make multimodal instruction following data from image text pairs. Inspired by the success of recent GPT models in text annotation tasks, they propose to use ChatGPT or GPT-4 for multimodal instruction following data collection based on image pair data. You might wonder, how could ChatGPT or GPT-4 handle the image data when they are text-only models? To do this, the authors thought of a simple way to encode the image into its visual features using two types of representations, captions and bounding boxes. Here, captions are the description of the visual scene from various perspectives, and bounding boxes are the location of each boxes, each of which having an object in the scene inside. The encoded features, captions, and bounding boxes generated from an image are the inputs that goes into GPTs, and in turn, the GPTs offer the three types of response, which are conversation, detailed description, and complex reasoning of the given original image. This is the framework of data generation process when the response type is the conversation. For the three different types of output, when given the same original image, the captions and bounding boxes are the same, since these two are generated based on the image. However, the different part is the prompt message, where it instructs the GPT to output conversation, detailed description, or complex reasoning. The blue underlined part is the part where humans instruct GPT to generate a conversation based on the image. And in the following slides, only the prompt part changes according to the response type. You can notice the difference in this blue underlined text. This is the process of generating the detailed description of the image, which is the second output type. You can see that the content of the prompt message has changed to make a detailed description of the image. The rest is the same. Lastly, this is the process of generating the complex reasoning of the image, which is the third output type. You can see that the content of the prompt message has changed to generate a complex reasoning of the image. In the next section, I will explain the visual instruction tuning process in detail. Firstly, I will describe the architecture of LLaVA network. In visual instruction tuning, the primary goal is to effectively leverage the capabilities of both the pre-trained LLM and pre-trained visual model. The figure is the LLaVA network architecture presented in the paper. As the pre-trained large language model, Vicuña was selected since it has the best instruction following capabilities in language tasks among publicly available checkpoints. And for the vision encoder, the pre-trained clip visual encoder VIT-L14 was selected. Here I will describe the architecture of the LLaVA. When an input image XV is given, the visual encoder provides the visual feature ZV. ZV is then converted to language embedding tokens by applying a trainable projection matrix W to it. HV has the same dimensionality as the word embedding space in the language model. Next, I will explain the training process in detail. For training, multi-turn conversation data is generated for each image XV. The gray box below is the input sequence used to train the model, and the model is trained to predict the assistant answers and where to stop, which are in green color in the box. Specifically, X system message is the prompt message for each response type. The prompt message here means the same prompt message that was shown earlier in the data generation process, depending on the type of response, which are conversation, detailed description, and complex reasoning. And the XT instruct are the questions that humans give to the model to produce the response. In the equation, you can see that in the first turn, the question and the image are both given, and in the remaining turns, only the questions are given. And the XQ, the questions that humans give are the questions asking the model to output conversation, detailed description, or complex reasoning of the image. The below three green boxes are the examples of questions according to the response type. And the response type are the value for the key named category in each dictionary. Finally, for a sequence of length L, the probability of the target answers XA is computed by the last equation in the slide, where when the instruction and answer tokens in all turns before the current prediction token, small xi, are given. Here, theta is the trainable parameters. For training the LLaVA, the authors considered a two-stage instruction tuning procedure, which are pre-training for feature alignment for stage 1 and fine-tuning end-to-end for stage 2. In the first stage, the visual encoder and LLM weights are frozen, and the likelihood of getting the target answer XA is maximized. Here, the trainable parameters is W, which is the projection matrix. Through this process, the image features HV are aligned with pre-trained LLM word embedding. In the stage 2, the visual encoder is frozen and pre-trained weights of the projection layer, which is W, and the pre-trained weights of LLM, which is phi, are updated. The authors consider two specific use case scenarios for stage 2, which are multimodal chatbot and science QA. In the following section, I will go over the experiments done to assess the performance of LLaVA in instruction following and visual reasoning capabilities. There are two primary settings for experiments, which are multimodal chatbot and the science QA dataset, respectively. To show the image understanding and conversation abilities of LLaVA, the authors designed a chatbot demo and studied how well LLaVA was able to digest visual inputs and exhibit instruction following capabilities. If you look at the table on the left, you can see the answers from LLaVA, GPT-4, Blip2, and OpenFlamingo when given the question, what is unusual about this image? Compared to Blip2 and OpenFlamingo, LLaVA accurately followed the user's instruction, precisely describing the scene, although LLaVA was trained with a small multimodal instruction following dataset, up to 80K unique images in total. And it gave more comprehensive responsive compared to GPT-4. On the right first table in the evaluation studies on LLaVA bench dataset, which is the randomly selected 30 images from COCOVAL 2014. In the table, you can notice an improvements in reasoning capabilities with detailed description and complex reasoning complement conversational abilities with 81.5 points. And it is also shown that with instruction tuning, the model's ability of following users' instructions improved significantly, over 50 points when you look at the last column highlighted in blue. In the last table, it was shown that LLaVA outperforms OpenFlamingo and Blip2 instruction following capability. Science QA contains 21K multimodal multiple choice questions with domain diversity over 3 subjects, 26 topics, and 127 categories. For representative models, GPT 3.5 model with and without chain of thought, Llama adapter, and multimodal chain of thought was used, giving 91.68 points as the SOTA. The results are in the table below, and for LLaVA, when features before the last layer was used and asked to first predict reasons and then the answers, it yielded 90.92% accuracy, close to the SOTA 91.68%. Similar to chain of thought, the authors used GPT-4 as the judge with LLaVA, and whenever the GPT-4 and LLaVA produced different answers, they prompted GPT-4 again, asking it to provide its own final answer based on the question and 2 outcomes, and the result was a new SOTA accuracy of 92.53%. In the evaluation study, the authors tried using the last layer feature from Clip Visual Encoder, and it yielded 89.96%, and it was 0.96% lower than the feature before the last layer. To explain this result, the authors hypothesized that it may be because Clip's last layer features may focus more on global and abstract image properties compared to the layer before it, which focuses more on the localized properties, thus more useful. In the conclusion section, I will summarize the takeaways of the paper and its limitations. The strength of the paper lies in that it shows effectiveness of visual instruction tuning almost for the first time. The researchers presented an automated pipeline to create language image instruction following data. And they designed LLaVA, which is a multimodal trained on their instruction following data. With the model, the new SOTA accuracy could be achieved when fine-tuned on Science QA, and it showed excellent visual chat capabilities when fine-tuned on multimodal chat data. However, it leaves some space to be developed further, since the model presented is the initial step of visual instruction model, leaving plenty of room for building more capable multimodal models, even as authors mentioned. This is the end of presentation. Thank you for listening.